Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. I'm going to decorate the last pumpkin I bought, and this time I'm going to be using felt, and I think it's going to turn out really cute. At least I hope so. I hope you'll stay tuned. So I bought these pumpkins at the end of season last year from Joann's, and you can buy them at any hobby store, and this one's made out of styrofoam. One of my friends sent me this disposable scalpel. She sent me a bunch of them, and I thought it might work well. I'm trying to just kind of cut into the grooves. You have to kind of go gently, because my plan is, I'm not cutting all the way through, but my plan is I'm going to try and shove my felt in between those layers. But first I need to cut off the little stem, because I'm going to want to have my felt hidden under there. It's glued. It's got a, of course it's got a toothpick. Wouldn't you just know it? Well, I might leave the toothpick. No, I'm going to take it out because I'll just put it in. I'll put a new one in there now that I know how hard it was to do. And then when I put that aside so I don't lose it, remind me I put it over here to the right. Anyway, I bought this felt at Joann's. I bought a half a yard of this. It's like I think it's like a wool felt. I might be making that up too. But I measured the width of each of these, and I think if I cut my material about 2 inches wide and 12 inches long, I should be able to make this work. So no, I think I'm going to make it 2.5 inches. Let me cut a strip and we'll see how that works. So our plan here is to measure 2 inches from the end. I'm making it 2.5, and I'm just gonna, if I can, get this white mark to work. And these are from Fiskars. They're called Easy Action Scissors, and they're made so that you squeeze them and then they automatically snap back. They're made for people with arthritis. Well, at least the Arthritis Foundation has approved these scissors. So with that being said, you know I'm happy about that, because if they say that it's going to work for me, I'm going to believe them. Okay, hold on. I'm going to get some of this material out of the way and cut it. And if you can't see it right now, you will in a second. Okay, there is one strip. And how long is it? To get 12 inches, I'm going to need it to be a little bit longer. Then I'm just going to cut that off, and we'll see how it works. We might have to make the top a little bit more narrow and the bottom a little bit more narrow. And I don't know if this is going to work at all, but this came to me, this idea of how to put it on the pumpkin. It came to me one day, and I thought that would work. Well, we'll wait and see. My thinking is that I'm going to take it and I'm going to jab the edges of it down in there. Then I'm going to glue it. So each piece is going to have its own high and low part of the pumpkin. What do you call these little sections? I'm going to call it a pumpkin section. I struggled with this on my last video. I don't know what they're called, but we're going to call it a pumpkin section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and kind of jam the edges down in there. And then I bought this Fabric Fix. It's fast grab, quick dry. It bonds fabric, lace, leather, trims, and more. So we're going to see if it grabs anything in the line of pumpkin parts. So these are the strips that I've cut. These two pieces right here while it's rolling around. I'm just going to put some glue down the center for right now. I need to cut my strip a little bit narrower at the top and at the bottom. Let's see if it is in fact quick grabbing. Alright, so we're going to take this edge. Then, once I get that side kind of jammed in there, what I need to do is take my pokey tool. Oh, look at the glue I got all over that already. Oh boy. I take my pokey tool and I'm just going to jam it into that seam. Remember I said, I don't know if this is going to work. So I'm just going to take the little scalpel. I guess these are called disposable scalpels. And I'm just going to trim that off. I could use my X-Acto tool or I could use the craft knife, but I thought for this project, because this is such a fine blade, I have to get that piece out. It's bugging me. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to shove the edges down in all the way till I get to the bottom. And if it's too wide, you just are going to trim it off. I'm just going to stick it like that. And then at this bottom part right here, I'm just going to leave that go, and then we'll glue it all as we go. I got to get that off somehow. I'll have to figure out how to get rid of that. And then up at the top, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to push it in. And then on this side, we have to do, so that goes in. And then I'm going to kind of cut it on an angle. Cut it this way. That out of there. And the same with this piece. Sorry if my arms are in the way. Okay. And I'm going to jab this piece down in. And then we'll just glue, if I didn't already glue this. I know I glued most of it. I just need to glue that little tip down so it's going to stay. And then I'm going to go to my next strip. So let me cut the next strip and I'll be right back. Okay. Here's our next piece. We're just going to kind of move it over if we can. If it's not going to stick in there, then we got to move it just a little bit to make sure that all of our pieces will have enough material to go in the slot. And if it doesn't, you have to move it so that it does. And I'm going to have to trim that little spot off right there. And as soon as we do that, then we can go on to the next one. That ought to do it for that piece. I got a little glue. I'm going to have to read up on how you remove that glue. And then we'll go on to the next one. I don't think you need to watch me do any, see that process. And I'll finish going around and I'll be back. Okay, I wanted to show you when you are starting to make some, well, I'll call it, when you're starting to get further into your pumpkin, your ends are going to be a lot longer, or wider, excuse me, and so you're going to have to work on those. So what I wanted to show you is it gets a lot easier doing this part. You really, I can do it. If I can do it, I think most people can. But this part, you have to understand that you've got too much material down here. So a couple of the things that I did that worked. First, you're going to take some of the fabric off of the edge. Hopefully you can see this. If you can't, I'm sorry. This is going to be your first step. Okay. And then, if that is still too wide, and I don't think mine is going to be, but right in here, you're going to stick your pokey tool in there. You want to move it so that you have as little material on that side as possible. You're going to push that down in like you did everywhere else, and then you're going to just keep moving this material. So then you have this piece that you're going to want to either trim off, and I like to trim it off because I don't like to have a lot extra there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this side and cut a little bit of it off. Cut into the center with a little V, like that, and then you just pull that piece out like that, and then we're going to shove it back down in there, only this time we don't have a ton of extra material because we cut that little slot out of the middle. Shove all this back in, and then when you lay that down, it's flatter than it was, and I can cut that excess off. Then on the bottom, it's kind of the same process everywhere you're at, but you just have to make sure that you leave enough material so that you don't end up with a big section empty. I'm going to do a big V here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So then we'll shove this little piece in. This is not the easiest thing to show on video, let me tell you, because trying to keep it from rolling when I'm trying to video it is tricky. I'm just saying, it's tricky. And then we'll put a little bit of glue under this. You are probably going to use more glue than anything else. So that's my recommendation, is making sure you get enough glue. You get a big enough bottle of that Fabric Tack. You probably could do this with your glue gun, but if you do it with your glue gun, you're going to have a lot of burns, I think. Well, I would. So let's go on and I'll be back. So at this point, I have to figure out how to get my top on and how to get my felt on the top. It's kind of tricky. I did put a toothpick, do you see that, in there, and I'm going to try and figure out the best way to glue this down, and I'm going to use hot glue to attach it to the base, but I'm just going to use my my Fabric Tack glue on the felt, and I cut this little notch out of the top, hoping it would work to make our top stay where I want it to, but you know how that goes. It probably won't. I'm just going to smash that down a little bit. That's a technical term, smashing it down. I'm not exactly certain how this is going to work, but what I want to do, I'll kind of show you the plan. My plan is to wrap it around the side and then to pull these pieces in, kind of like that, and then I'll cut off more as I go. That's my thinking anyway. So I think I'll just put a little glue on that side. Hold on, I gotta get my glue to come out. Ugh, it's a nightmare. Just gonna put glue along this side and see if we can get one side to work. So I have my hot glue right here, and I have my piece ready. I'm going to only hot glue the areas that have the felt on it, because otherwise I think I'll melt it. Pretty sure I'll melt it. That's my thinking anyway. And then I have the pin, and I'm going to try and do this so you can see it. I'm going to jab it right into the center, and then I'm going to push down as hard as I possibly can so we can get it to stay in place. I have a little glue seeping out over the edge that I'm kind of wanting to get rid of. I did find a way to get rid of the glue from the Fabric Tack on the sides of my pumpkin. All I did was I took a little bit of alcohol, and that would be rubbing alcohol, and I just put it on a cloth and I dabbed at it very gently. If you dab at it too much, it will melt the foam underneath, but if you can see, I did get rid of it. So let me get this out of the way so you can see our pumpkin in its entirety. Before I go any further, I have this piece that has like a little spike on it. I don't know where I got this. I'm assuming you could get this at any place that you buy floral things. I'm going to jab right beside this so that, oh, it just went down in there. Come on, buddy, stick with me. And these are little throwaway scalpels that one of my friends sent me. I don't know where you get them. I just know that that's what it is. Okay, I got my little piece ready to go, hopefully. Let's see if we can get this pushed in. I'm not sure what these little blue things have to do with pumpkins, but the leaves look like pumpkin leaves to me. I'm just going to twist it a little bit more. And if your leaves aren't where you want them to, what I recommend you doing, and this is why I left my hot glue gun on, so what you're going to want to do, let's say that we're going to put this piece right there. Now this is where you burn yourself really badly, so you want to try really hard not to do that. And I'm trying not to stick my finger in that if I can avoid it. And then I'm going to try and wrap this around. It's in more of a circular pattern. Okay, my leaves and, well, my berries are this ugly blue color. So what I decided to do is get out my Adirondack alcohol inks, and I just bought these. These are from Tim Holtz. It's a tool set for alcohol inks, and it includes brushes, and I never had a brush before for these, and so this made me happy that I could do this, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to paint my berries. So the first one I did is super dark orange because I put way too much on it, and then the other one I'm going to put a few drops on. This is it's butterscotch. The other one is sunset orange, and I'm just gonna paint these lightly so that they have some variations of color, but so it's no longer, I didn't want it to be blue, I want it to be some other color. Hopefully I'm still in the light. And I had a little issue with my leaf where I turned it orange, and I didn't want to do that, but I did it anyway. So I think what I'm going to do is I have another leaf from this piece. So what I thought I would do is, yeah, this is how you do things when you're me. What you do is you get your scissors. I'm going to use my Tim Holtz scissors because there's metal in this leaf, in the stem of it. And I'm just going to snip it off like that. And then I'm going to take another one and snip it off. And then I'm just going to basically glue that into the place that the other one was. And this one, the stem has come off of the back of my leaf, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue back there. I'm trying to get as close as I can for you to see this, so it makes it almost impossible for me to get the lighting right. Alright, so then we're going to put a little bit of glue on this stem, and I'm going to shove this leaf. There's a little kind of a loop, a metal loop down in there, and I have another berry on this one that if I decide I want a third berry, and you normally do want things in threes, so let me get that out of the way, and I'll just color this so you can see how you do this. What I did with the other ones, this is just some felt that I put duct tape. I have some scraps of felt that I put duct tape on so that it would be waterproof, or in my case alcohol ink proof, and I just wanted to put it underneath there, and I'm just going to put a couple drops of this orange so that I can move it around with my brush, and change it from a blueberry to a, in this case it's going to be a darker orange berry. Oh, it's on my hand now. Hold on, I gotta get this out of the way. I don't want to take it off of this stem if I can avoid it. I just want to make sure that I color it as much as I can. And this alcohol ink leaves a sticky residue, so I might have to spray them with a fixative. I'm not sure yet, because most fixatives have alcohol in them. So there is my other orange one. So all I have to do, I'm going to pull that little bugger out of there. Alright, I have all these cool tendrils. Okay, then let's see if I can jab that down in there. I mean, it's foam after all. There we go. Let me see if I can uncover my, there we go. Whoops. So that is our pumpkin. I hope that you learned some tricks today on how you can make your own pumpkin, that you'll give this a thumbs up and subscribe, and please tell your friends about me on social media. You know I love that, and thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.